Breaking news hitting the tape right now. First, it was Twitter getting booted out of Russia. Now hotel reservation website Booking.com can no longer be used to book accommodation inside Russia. This, according to RIA news agency. The stock is falling just about 5.8% at the moment. Again, this is a Russia ban on utilizing Booking.com inside the country. The stock market's not the only economic data point suffering from volatility regarding the Russian invasion of Ukraine. This week, mortgage rates went all over the place. First going into free fall following Russia's military moves, reversing weeks of increases that had pushed rates above 4%. But after dropping about 3.9% on Tuesday, the 30-year fixed has suddenly reversed and is now back up to 4.17%. Record high home prices, along with geopolitical fears, have buyers and sellers confused. Yesterday, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said, with inflation so high, the central bank is not confused. It's on track for a series of rate hikes this year, beginning on March 16th. Listen.
I do think that it's going to be appropriate for us to continue to proceed along the lines that we had in mind before the Ukraine invasion happened, and that was to raise interest rates at the March meeting and to continue through the course of the year based on incoming data and the evolving outlook.
What does it mean for the housing market, which has been a shining star of the investment world over the past year? Let's bring in Hovnanian Enterprises Chairman and CEO Ara Hovnanian in a Fox Business exclusive. Well, what's your world like right now as we see mortgage rates as a moving target?
You know, surprisingly and amazingly, home buyers right now are very focused on buying a home. The tragedy in Ukraine doesn't matter. Inflation fears don't matter to home consumers, and higher mortgage rates don't matter. We released our results this week, and sales right up through this weekend have been just rock solid, amazingly.
Right up through the weekend. But you're also dealing with, forget, consumers and home buyers dealing with inflation. You guys have dealt with materials inflation. Lumber had crashed about a month ago. We do see lumber all over the place now, and we, not to mention, have to look at everything from cement prices to, everything else that goes into making a house. How are you dealing with that, Ara?
Well, fortunately, we've been able to raise home prices more than enough to compensate, and our margins are still increasing, even with a lot of our costs going up. So we've been in a fortunate environment right now.
Yeah, I would think so. But tell me where you see home buying going if these mortgage prices continue to rise. You heard Jay Powell, and it appears that he is boxed in now, because they waited too long to move rates off of emergency levels of 0 to 0.25%. And there will be that shock of the new for many first-time home buyers.
No question about it. First, it's important to always remind everyone, obviously, short-term rates are one thing that doesn't affect home buyers very much. It's mortgage rates that really matter. Rates are up, as you pointed out a moment ago. It's at 4%. Sounds high from where we've been over the last year. But if you look historically, last decade and a half, 4%, last 5 decades, 4% is a very, very low rate by historical standards. If you go back for 15 years, from 93 to the mid-2000s, mortgage rates were between 5 and 9%. And we built more housing per year as a country, more single-family housing, than we did last year. So I think there is an opportunity still. No doubt, if rates rise more rapidly, even more than what has happened to mortgage rates over the last month, then yes, consumers might have a little sticker shock. That happened in 2018. They hesitated for a bit, and then they reset their expectations for what they could afford and went back into the market. Maybe a little smaller home, maybe a little less in upgrades, but they went and they did buy.
Well, Ara, you and I are old. We remember when they were much higher, but I said shock of the new for new home-time buyers. I still think it may work its way through the system and perhaps be certainly a cap on what's going on with home buying. Great to have you, Ara Hovnanian.